Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time of the morning for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we're talking intentional branding with a 25-year vet in the business of branding and marketing. Laura DeVries is going to be joining us today. And if you're trying to build a business, you're trying to build a brand, and you don't know what the heck you're doing, you need to make sure that you tune in today because it's about to go down. Super excited to have this conversation. You guys know I love the digital marketing space and the brand building space. So I'm excited as to what I'm going to be able to learn here today. And I know you're going to be able to learn a lot as well. So do me a huge favor. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Digital Empire System Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri, where you can build your own digital empire using one single platform that covers all of your needs. Check out digitalempiresystem.com and go see for yourself. Super excited about today's episode. We're talking about one of my favorite subjects on the planet, that is building your brand and marketing with an amazing young lady that I have come to know and shared some thoughts with around this topic. And I thought she'd be great for you guys to hear from as well. But y'all know how we do. Before we get into any of that, I got a couple quick announcements for you guys. Again, if you have not yet heard, the Black Beard Success Show is going down on Roku, Unheard TV. We are looking for sponsors. If you want to power any of the shows or any of the segments of the show, then all you got to do is jump in the inbox and let me know, or send an email to hcortez@blackbeardsuccess.com. Super excited about that. My Unheard TV family, thank you for opening your doors for me to bring a new show, a new vision, a new idea to life on the platform. Also, if you know any nonprofit organizations, any churches, organizations that need some help with their branding and their marketing throughout the holiday season, I'm still looking for about 4 or 5 more organizations to volunteer with, some consulting, maybe even put my team to work on some of the projects that they got going on this holiday season as my way of giving back. And if you're in the local St. Louis area and you need hands-on volunteering, I'm still looking for about 5 or 6 organizations. I try to do 10 volunteer opportunities during the holiday seasons, and I'm still looking for a few more. So if you know any definitely shoot them my way. Calling all authors, if you are an author and you have yet to build your own platform to sell, market, and distribute your book, then you want to inbox me super, super fast. We have the Ultimate Book Selling Machine is an amazing tool to help you sell more books, but not just sell more books, but it's a funnel system that allows you to sell a book and then offer your additional coaching and other services within the same sales sequence, which allows you to add, increase your cart value of each potential customer. So if you don't have something like that going on, then we need to talk. Nothing wrong with selling your book on Amazon and BarnesandNobles.com, but when you do that, who gets the lead? Who collects the name, the email address, the phone number, and the address? Do you get that, or does that go to Amazon? Yeah, that's what I thought. If you're not building a list, you're not building a business, ladies and gentlemen. So you need a system, a platform, and a mechanism to allow you to build that list so you can nurture that over time, market to those people over time, and continue to add value to their lives, thus adding to your bottom line. So inbox me if you do not have a system in place. I've got this system up and running, and I'm looking for about 4 or 5 authors to beta test it so we make sure we get all the kinks out of the funnel. But with that being said, it is now, ladies and gentlemen, that time for us to bring on our very, very special guest. She got 25 years of experience building amazing brands for some amazing companies that you would all know and recognize if she decided to disclose that information. But nevertheless, she is now doing her own thing, and she's able to help you build an amazing brand as well. So I want to introduce to some of you guys and present to others, Miss Laura DeVries. Good morning, Laura. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Cortez. How are you?
I am doing extremely well this morning, and I'm excited to get into this conversation with you on building a brand with intention. But before we do that, I like to start each and every show with a quote of the day. And today's quote, as I listen to my motivation material in the morning as I'm working out, I heard a guy say, failure is not final, it's formative. It's not an event. I mean, it is an event and never a person. Failure is not final, it's formative. It's an event and never a person. It's part of the process, ladies and gentlemen. If you're running from failure, you're also running from success by default. So, Laura, do you have a favorite quote that you'd like to share? Or would you like to chime in on that one?
You know what? I don't have off the top of my head. There's one quote from Michael Jordan that's kind of along that same lines about failure. But I love that point because if I personally had not failed, I wouldn't be a business owner today. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. Failure is okay. Failure is something to be proud of. It's not something to be ashamed of.
Yeah, and my gripe with, among many gripes of our antiquated school system, is they kind of put that into us, right? That failure is something to be ashamed of. Like the way I explain it is the first time you went from 2-letter words to 3-letter words and 4-letter words on that spelling test is probably most people's first experience with that big red X, right? Yes. On the paper. And that created a sense of shame in that I don't ever want to see that again, so I might not even try, in fear of getting that big red X on my paper, versus it really being explained that no, it was that attempt, that try. Because I don't know about you, I misspell a word in an embarrassing way one time. I never misspell that word ever again.
Right, absolutely.
Because I learned from that mistake.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's something that we definitely have to get really into our spirits, that the mistakes are going to happen, and when they do, it's a matter of how you respond to them, how you pick yourself up. So that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by DigitalEmpireSystem.com. Go check it out if you need your own platform to build your own website, sales funnels, capture pages, autoresponders, all of that good stuff. Then DigitalEmpireSystem.com is the place for you to be. Laura, I ask everybody who comes on the show the very same question. Who the heck are you?
Who am I? Well, Laura DeVries. I've been in the marketing arena for over 25 years. I'm not a native to the St. Louis area. I was actually born and raised in Nebraska, and then moved here and I'm going to age myself here, in the 80s. And it's definitely, it's been a journey, but so I've been in the marketing arena for over 25 years, like I said. But the great thing about my journey has been that it's been with many, many different industries.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had the experience from software to nonprofit to Fortune 500. And I think all of that kind of planted the seed and helps me be a better business owner, because I can kind of get inside the head of these companies more quickly than others at times,
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about, that transition before you even get to St. Louis, Nebraska. What is life like for a young Laura in Nebraska? Did you have entrepreneurs in your family? Did you do any entrepreneurial endeavors as a kid? What was life like in Nebraska before you migrated to the Loop?
Life in Nebraska was phenomenal. It was a great place to grow up. I lived in a very, very small town. So the very stereotypical, like, you go out at 8:00 in the morning, you don't come back until 6:00 at night for dinner. It was a very innocent time. I loved it. Regarding entrepreneurship at that point, I mean, other than having the lemonade stand, I don't really feel like it was in my blood at that point. I was very much more of a creative, artsy type person. So that's kind of where I think the foundation of my business and experience is, from that creative aspect. So no, I don't think there was anything as a kid that I did that was entrepreneurial. And it really wasn't until my, let me back up for a second. So my undergraduate was in actually fine arts in ceramics. Yeah. Then I realized I couldn't make any money like building pots and making pots. So that's when I decided to go back and get a master's degree. And that's really my final thesis project was building this company. And at that point, I really started to break down everything. I was like, wow, you know what? I think I can really do this. I think that maybe I've got the skill set and the experience to be able to do this. But when I graduated in 2002, I mean, I just felt like I wasn't in a place where I could financially make that leap of faith. And it really wasn't until 2014 where I was like, okay, I've been thinking about this since 2002, and maybe it's time to act on it. And I got to say, it's been the best decision I've ever made.
Gotcha. What is the most prized creation that you have made in ceramics?
Wow, that's a great question. So I still have a few pieces from my final project. My mom still has pieces from my final project. I think they're collecting dust somewhere in a corner, but
Gotcha. And how does one, so arts and crafts and hands and creativity is your thing, growing up. So you kind of go to college and start, continuing to hone that skill. What was the conversation like that says, you know what, the conversation with yourself as well as those around you when you start going, I'm going to go back to school and get a master's degree because I can't do anything with ceramics other than, I guess you could have taught, art in school or something like that with that type of degree. So what was the conversation with yourself and those around you as you were making that transition to go and get a advanced degree in a totally different field? And it's kind of like a pivot.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I was working in purchasing, I kind of came to a fork in the road where I needed to make a decision on, was I going to continue with purchasing or did I want to go into more of the marketing arena? So I decided to take that curve in the marketing community and spent a few years there. And then I really realized, for the type of leadership position that I would want, an undergraduate in fine arts is not going to be probably the best tool and resource. So at that point, after being in marketing for a few years, I decided I was going to start checking out schools, and really came to fall in love with Fontbonne University. I really liked their accelerator program. I liked it was you had to have years of experience in order to get into the program.
Mhm.
And it really, at that point, I just decided to go all in. I knew that for me personally, it would be very hard to have a family and go to school and work. So I decided to, before I did any of that, to go and
Mhm.
get the degree and be able to focus on it. And timing wise, it worked out really, really well.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I know that that's not an easy thing, and I hear a lot of people who want to go back to school and figure they could advance their career,
Mhm.
but then juggling family, life,
Yep.
kids, job, and school
Mhm.
seems just too tall of an order.
Mhm.
Um, I think now it's getting a little bit easier with a lot of the universities bringing programs online and allowing a lot of flexibility that should have been there a long time ago, but but
Right.
they're real flexible now and making it a little bit easier, but still challenging nevertheless. So you had a couple years of marketing experience. What
Mhm.
was it that caused you to really fall in love with marketing enough to make you say, you know what, I'm gonna go get some certifications and some letters behind my name to make
Mhm.
this mean something?
Right. Well, marketing is a creative field. And,
Mhm.
as I noted, I love thinking outside the box. And I think there were so many aspects of the marketing arena that just felt right for me.
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but you look at the creative side, you look at the online side, you look at the strategic planning, um, and it just fit my personality. It just made sense to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and I think that that's huge. A lot of people don't understand how or don't give themselves permission
Mhm.
to test enough things
Yes.
to find that, right? You found it on the first shot, right? Well, second shot, you were in purchasing, and then you decided to try marketing, and
Yep.
then you found that it fit. Why do you think a lot of people don't test enough stuff to find, especially early in their careers and when they're young, like, man, I'm going to try a bunch of different things so then I can find, you know what, this feels right. I can
Mhm.
feel, I can see, I can sense myself being involved in this arena for the next 20 plus years or so. What do you think keeps people from testing and trying a lot of different stuff till they find what feels right?
And I think some of it is just being scared, not willing,
Mhm.
not wanting to take the plunge and try different things. It's interesting to me, the schools, specifically the schools that we're involved in. We're in the St. Charles School District. They
Mhm.
have a really, really great program. It's called a CAPS program, and it actually allows these students to do these internships with business owners. And I really like that because we're talking about exactly what your point is, and that is, let's try all these different things. So if there's
Mhm.
some way that we could translate that to adults, uh,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic. It's tough because when you're an adult, you have, family obligation, you have,
Mhm.
your mortgage to pay for, or whatnot. So doing an unpaid internship is maybe not realistic.
Yeah.
But on the same hand, if you can, work with contacts and business owners to get that experience, that may be a way for people to try different things. But yeah, it's tough because sometimes I feel like families program people to do what they think they should do. Whether
Yeah.
if your dad's been a lawyer, you should be a lawyer. Um,
Mhm.
so I guess it's taking that leap of faith.
Yeah. And I think you're right on what sometimes we as parents um, will superimpose our will, our
Mhm.
limitations sometimes onto our children, our status quo-esque lifestyle. Hey, play it safe and stick to things that are going to work. I remember hearing often, go after the career fields that's going to make the money,
Right.
no consideration for my happiness or my peace of mind, my well-being, nothing. And when you start being programmed like that from a young age, then you start to compromise, those things that make you happy. And you start saying things like, well, I can't make any money with this. So let me suck it up and put my big boy pants on and go do this thing for the next 30 years that's killing my body, killing my spirit.
Yep.
And you just find yourself trapped.
Yep.
I think now, though, with the internet, there's a lot more room to do some of that exploratory type stuff, right? If you're a parent, you've got family, you got a full-time job, you can still tinker around with something online 2 or 3 hours a week.
Sure.
To see if it feels right.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about the space that we are in. Being in America in 2021, 2022, it's like opportunities have exploded in terms of the amount that's out there for us. So we're going to get into another segment that I love, Laura, called 1 Minute Motivation. This is where I play a short motivational video. It's usually 60 to 90 seconds or so. And I'm just going to ask you to give a couple takeaways, and I'll give a couple takeaways, and our audience usually comments, those who are watching live, a couple takeaways as well. So let's get into 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
Sense to get up and start your day early because you can get more work in. I didn't feel good about myself if I wasn't doing everything I could to be the best version of myself. If I felt like I left anything on the table, it would eat away at me. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. Right? So the reason why I can retire now and be completely comfortable about it, because I know that I've done everything I could to be the best basketball player I could be. And so that's where it comes from for me. You can't leave any stone unturned. Trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear?
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the deal I made.
You were crystal clear about it?
Crystal clear.
And where did inspiration come from?
The love of the game. The love of the game, the challenge. Like I would watch Magic play, I'd watch Michael play, and I would see them do these unbelievable things, and I'd say, can I get to that level? I don't know, but let's find out.
Hoo-wee, Laura, I don't know about you, but that's the story of my life. Let's find out. I don't know, but let's find out. I'm going to go for it and see what happens. The reason I love this segment so much is because we all just listen to the same clip, but based on what we're going in life, we all heard something different. So what did you hear?
Oh my gosh, I heard confidence. You got to have confidence and you got to trust yourself.
Yeah. Don't
be afraid, man. You have to have, if you know you want something, if you have that drive, don't ignore it. It's that put it in your stomach feeling that you've got a gut reaction about something. Go for it.
Yeah. And I like that he said he made that deal with himself when he was 13 years old. And I think as parents, we can draw from that and help our children find that earlier in life and then support them in doing what he did. Man, listen, I'm trying to be the best basketball player I can possibly be. I don't know if that's going to make me the greatest in the world at 13. I don't know if that's going to make me a 5-time champion at 13, a U.S. Olympic gold medalist at 13. All I know is I just want to try to be the best I can, and I'll let the chips fall where they may. Also, he said he had to kill all distractions. He wasn't going to let anything pull him one way or another. And this is something that I struggle with mightily, Laura. I heard Elon Musk talk about his creative genius one time. He said it's like a never-ending explosion going on in his head 24/7. And I kind of feel like that sometimes. And it creates a scatterbrainness. I'm distracted not by a lot of outside things, but a lot of internal things. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this business. It gets crazy. So I finally come to a place where I'm focused and I know exactly what I want to do, what the mission is long term, and all that kind of stuff. But distractions can play a huge part in killing dreams, just as much as you stated about being fearful and not confident and believing in yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, comment your biggest takeaway as well. That is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Laura DeVries version. Make sure that you guys go check Laura out and everything that she's got going on. I'll put the links to her websites and all of that in the show notes and in the comments. So Laura, we kind of progressed through, all right, childhood, artsy, went to school, actually got a bachelor's in arts and ceramic. And then there was a switch. This ain't gonna be what I'm gonna be doing for the next 40 years. Then you get into marketing, start to like it a little bit, like it enough that you made an investment in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that importance of that investment in yourself and why other people should be willing to bet on themselves, because you didn't go to Fontbonne for free, I'm sure.
No, sure didn't. So I feel, okay. Ask that question one more time for me, because I have a couple different things that are going on in my head.
Yes. So I want you to talk about, because you said that you liked it enough. You're looking at leadership positions, and the degree I have is not going to be substantial enough for me to get where I want to go. At some point, as you were looking at schools, you had to make a decision to make an investment in yourself, right? What was your thought process? And can you encourage those who may be on the fence about making an investment, whether it is a tens of thousands of dollar investment in a master's degree, or whether it is a few $100 investment in just starting an LLC?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so important to go ahead and put some skin in the game?
Well, if you don't have skin in the game, it's very easy to give up. So, when I started the company, I started with just a few bucks. It was, the overhead was very, very low because I was working out of my house. I bought a computer. That was pretty much my biggest expense. But the investment, when you get a degree, and I'll speak just for a minute about the educational side. When you get a degree and you graduate with that degree, nobody can ever take it away from you. It's it may not be it's not going to necessarily guarantee that you're going to get a job doing exactly what you want to do, but it's really good leverage. But honestly, the investment for me was peace of mind. When it came to starting the business, I had to look at my home work-life balance, and it was way off. Work was up here, family was down here. You can see it. So the investment was not only myself, but my family.
Yeah, I love that. And you got to be willing to take that shot, take that risk. Was it difficult to recruit those around you into that dream, to get that support? Because I know how huge that is. I feel for people. My sugar is working in the next room, and I tell everybody as often as I can, there's nothing like the feeling that I get based on her belief in me. And I feel like every day I wake up that I literally can take over the world. And I don't know, I feel for people who don't have that kind of support. And I don't want to discourage them that if you don't have that support, that you don't go for it anyway.
Right.
But it's difficult. So what was it like recruiting those around you into this dream of, I'm going to get this degree, I'm ultimately going to start my company, and this is what it is. What was that like for you? Was it a pleasant experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know if they're listening or not. So I had very, very long conversations with my husband about starting the company. He was resistant to it for a while. My dad, completely on board. My mom, very resistant, because they don't want to see you fail. And it's a financial decision, because here you go from a nice steady paycheck to you got to get out and hustle and make it your own. So honestly, it took a while. I'd say the first year to almost prove to them that it could and it would and it will work. And I think I kind of blew their bobby socks off, So I think, again, it goes to that you have to go with what your gut is telling you. And I think that's when, in 2014, when I started the company, is when I really started to get in touch with myself and listening to what I felt was right. And so anyway, I'm stumbling in my words here. So anyway, the long story short is, no, not everybody was on board with me. It took some time to convince them that it would work. But again, it's one of those things, when I started this company, I told myself I was not going to fail. It's just not an option. And I think once I put that in my brain, that it's 100%, we're going for it, and nobody's going to stop us from doing this. So yeah, I think it was tough. It was really tough. That first year was hard.
Gotcha. And sometimes that's the proving ground. A lot of times when people start down this journey of entrepreneurship, and you just hit on it, and I was going to ask this, we know that from the business perspective that it's all about our customers, right? But from the entrepreneurship perspective, it's all about the entrepreneur. And that's the part that most people miss, is I'm going to start this business. And yes, the business is about the customer, but this journey is about me.
Right.
And if you're not willing to look inside and start rebuilding from the inside out, you're going to struggle permanently, not just in the first year. But it sounds like you did the work and you kind of figure some things out. You start learning how to listen to yourself. What were some of the things that you routinely did as you're going through this difficult time to keep your eye on the prize?
That's a great question. I did a lot of networking. I mean, this was somewhat stepping out of my comfort zone, because the other thing that I learned pretty quickly was you are everything. You are the salesperson. You are accounts payable, accounts receivable, your tech support. I mean, you're everything. So I got out there and went to as many chamber meetings, created as many one-on-ones as I could, participated in a couple different leads groups. So that was something, because I think as a sole proprietor, you're really kind of on an island sometimes. And you can get stuck easily. And I feel like you have to have other folks around you to support you. That's not necessarily your family, because you're going to be able to get a different perspective from them. So I think really just getting out there and shedding that maybe introverted person for more of an extroverted sales type person is something I really worked hard on.
Gotcha. And that's incredibly important, that if you are in the sole proprietor, you are the solopreneur, as I call it. Yeah, you are everything. And you got to understand that it's okay to be everything and go out there and do it and make it happen. So kudos to you, stepping outside of your comfort zone. We know how important that is. It's safety and security there, but nothing ever grows there. If you want to grow, you got to get out of that comfort zone. And you were able to do that. And now you laid the foundation, went through a rough year, you networked your face off, and now you got this thing, right? Let's talk to the people who are doing those things now. They're networking their face off. They got this embryo inside them and they're ready to give birth to it. But we know that your brand is so important to the longevity of your company. Let's talk about how people should be thinking about laying the foundation for a solid and lasting brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think sometimes people put enough emphasis on being intentional with their branding. And there are lots of different ways to be intentional with your branding that don't cost anything. I'll come back to that in a few minutes. But one of the things when I speak at events, one of the things that I always start the conversation with is you can't be everything to everybody. Okay. Specifically when it comes to marketing and you're looking at your marketing dollars, your marketing budget, pick some realistic goals. Okay. So if you have, you're starting a new company and you say, okay, so I want to increase my online presence. I want to expand my network of contacts or my sphere of influence or whatever that is making sure that you identify what those goals are at first really helps you be able to tailor what your brand is going to look and feel like. Because brand is not necessarily just your logo and your tagline. It is, you are your walking brand. When I go out, I am CommCore marketing, which there are pluses and minuses to that.
Right.
Because here's the deal is if you grow so rapidly as a business and you are marketing yourself personally as your brand, that can really come back and work against you because then clients don't necessarily want to work with anybody else in your company. They want to work with you, So anyway, being intentional with your brand and taking it very seriously is really important. Now, this may be over the top for some folks, but I always suggest that people, when they come up with their brand, their tagline, their statement, their mission statement, and all of that, their colors, put it into like a brand standard guide. It could be 2 pages. It doesn't have to be super, super thick. But that way, when it comes time, when you're growing and you have somebody else that's representing or managing your brand, they know exactly what to follow. It's kind of a template that's easy for them to work off of.
I love that. I had a mentor tell me one time as I was looking to bring on my first virtual assistant, and he would ask me all the time, do they know the mission? I'm like, no, they just need to know what to do. I said, no, they need to know the mission.
Right.
Because if they don't know the mission, they can't get behind the why of what you're telling them to do, and they're not going to give it their all. You need buy-in to the mission. And I guess you're saying if you haven't clearly defined that mission, hey, you ain't going to have buy-in from yourself because you don't know what the mission is, right? And you're definitely not going to be able to bring in strategic partners, whether they are employees, whether they are business partners, whether they are vendors.
Right. Everybody
has to buy into the mission of the brand. I love that. And take it seriously from the beginning. It's important. I think sometimes people don't see their brand as serious until they're making a certain amount of money.
Right.
And I see it the other way. You don't make a certain amount of money until you see your brand as serious. So when you're looking at that brand mission, and I've got that brand document and I know it, I've got it placed where I can see it regularly. As I start growing the company, then that's something that is part of the onboarding package. What would be next in terms of figuring out the next moves? We got realistic goals of what we want to grow these next 3 months. We got our mission in the document. What are some first few steps that newbie entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs who are just now getting serious about their business should be doing?
Well, I think you have to look at your time and see how much time you can spend on your marketing. That's something that's really, this is not rocket science. I recommend to people, if you have 3 goals or 2 goals or whatever your goals are, block out a certain amount of time every single week and make that be your marketing time. Whether that is brainstorming, thinking about what you're going to be doing in the future, or golly, you know what? I haven't scheduled on my social media posts for the next week. That's your time to do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I sit down and meet with a potential client, at first, we may come away with completely different marketing goals than we had initially thought. So I think, just sitting down with somebody and brainstorming what some of those ideas and where you want to spend your marketing efforts on is really helpful.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people dedicate time to marketing.
Mhm.
They do a lot of other stuff in their business, but
Mhm.
I had to sit down with a good friend who's asking for some assistance,
Mhm.
and I said, "Listen, you got four things that you should be doing, focusing all of your time on:
Mhm.
lead generation, setting appointments, closing appointments, and getting referrals.
Yep.
Don't think of nothing else to be doing about no doggone business. If it
Mhm.
doesn't lead to one of those four things, generating a lead, booking an appointment, closing that appointment, and getting a referral, everything else is off the table, especially if
Mhm.
you're a full-time employee still trying to build a business on the side." What do you think about social media? I know a lot of companies are still struggling with whether or not
Mhm.
to get go all in on
Mhm.
social media as a marketing strategy.
Mhm. So social media presence is hugely important. I feel like people don't take it seriously enough. So before anybody's even going to pick up a phone and call you, they're going to look at you online. They're going to look for a website. They're going to look on social media. And if you don't at least have some kind of a presence,
Yeah.
it's going to work against you. The thing is, it depends on what your demographic is. Okay. So the majority of the people that I work with are entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
They don't need to be working. They don't need to be on TikTok. They don't need to be on Pinterest
Hmm.
for the majority of the time. Again, it's all relative to what industry they're in. But you know what? Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all hugely important still.
Hmm.
Twitter has taken a very odd turn, in my opinion. Um, they're suspending accounts that shouldn't be suspended.
Hmm.
So I'm tempted to steer people away from Twitter at this point,
Yeah.
business owners away. But it all depends on who your demographic is. But I would highly suggest that anybody take some time to be on social media. Now, whether you pay to play, that's a whole nother conversation.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's free to do social media.
Yep. I think a lot of small local businesses are missing the mark. And as I know I experience it, especially in the Black community and the Black entrepreneur sphere,
Mhm.
it's they're golden on their personal
Mhm.
social media. They're on it all the time.
Mhm.
And then they pitch me a product or want some help, and I'm like, okay, well, where can I go learn about your product? What's your Facebook page, your business page for your business, or where's your Instagram page for your business, or where do you post and market about your business? And it's like, oh, just go to my website. It's like that ain't where the discovery phase, like you mentioned, is happening on social. It's not happening on your website because 99.999% of the time, your website is not even optimized to be found.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm not finding you on your website. Somebody on social is going to post a link to one of your products and services that I'm interested in. That's usually how the discovery phase works in this day and age. 60% of the people are still on their phones now, buying from their phones and that kind of stuff. If you don't have a social media presence, chances are you're not in front of those
Mhm.
people. Talk real quick though about the importance of, you mentioned your social should match the demographic that you're in, but talk about identifying that demographic or that target avatar to begin with. I know that's critically important for most, right?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have to look and see, is your demographic the younger generation, the 20 and the 30-year-olds, or is it, you know, middle-aged and adults? For example, I work quite a bit in the senior healthcare arena,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be in transportation or with living facilities or whatnot. And really, the people that we're marketing to are the adult children, like me. I have two
Mm-hmm.
parents that are seniors, um, so we got to think about who are the decision makers here. It
Yeah.
may not be the actual end user; it may be other people before that. So
Yeah.
I think it really, again, in sitting down and talking with somebody, is specifically a coach, and I'll come back to that in a minute. can really help you identify who your demographic is. And
Mhm.
most likely, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you know who that demographic is, you know.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I've really feel very strongly about, and I feel like it has helped me tremendously as a both as an individual personally and as a business owner, is working with a coach. I work with a coach every
Mhm.
single month. I have been since 2007, and it has made a huge difference because
Yeah.
it's that other person to talk to who can, you know, help me strategize and about my own company, you know, because,
Mhm.
you know, I'm a great marketer, but you know what? I need help with my marketing too to get so I'm a little
Mhm.
bit removed, you know.
Yeah, I love that. One of my go-to phrases is Warren Buffett has a coach.
That
Warren Buffett has a coach.
right,
You know, Elon Musk has a coach. These guys are the richest people in the world, and they got coaches and mentors.
right,
You think little old you shouldn't have a coach or a mentor? You
right,
absolutely should.
right.
But definitely that demographic and understanding, because you can't, a lot, the biggest mistake that I see a lot of business owners make, particularly when they get on social,
Mhm.
is they're trying to talk to everybody,
Right.
right? Why is that such a huge mistake?
Oh, because you can't be everything to everybody. You'll spread yourself so thin.
Mm,
You know, it's interesting because I do not shy away from my competitors because there's so much business to go around. So if
mhm.
people understand there's enough business to go
Yeah,
around that you can focus on this niche,
yeah.
it's going to be okay. You're going to be successful. You'll probably be more successful.
Yeah, I mean, people think like, okay, I got a product that everybody needs. Yeah, but
Mhm.
everybody don't want it,
Right,
right? And
right,
then those who do want it don't want it from you.
right.
So you got to figure out who you're talking to in your marketing. That's critically important.
Mhm.
So if you are, so you brought up another great point about knowing who the decision makers are versus the end user,
Mhm.
right?
Right,
In your world, you guys, myself included, we're in that sandwich generation where we still got kids, but
right.
we're also primary caretakers for our parents,
Correct.
right? So we are the ones responsible for what kind of senior care that they're going to need, and we're making those decisions.
Right.
So you might put out a piece of marketing material that grabs their attention, but really you want to focus the buying effort on talking to, hey, is your mom or is your dad or your parents getting close to that age where you're
Right.
considering, making these types of decisions? So that's
Mhm.
critically important. We are now at a time in the show, Laura,
Mhm.
that we call freestyle, because I know you got bars, right? Everybody's got
Of course.
bars. Um, but no, it's not about rapping and music and bass lines, but freestyle is all about you taking the next couple minutes, right? As I'm building this media empire that will one day surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney, I don't always ask the right questions, and the conversation doesn't always evolve to where we want it to go. So if there's something that needs to be reiterated, then take a moment to share that. Or if you've got something that we have not talked about yet and you feel is important, go ahead and share that with the audience now. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Laura DeVries version. Hit them with your best bars.
Good deal. So there are two things that kind of came to mind that really, it's not necessarily about marketing or whatnot, but as an entrepreneur, I've learned over time. The first being about 4 years ago, I had a one-on-one with one of my friends, and she was telling me about how she had a production day. And I'm like, what is a production day? She's
Mhm.
like, one day a week, I don't take any meetings, I don't take any planned phone calls, and I use that as my production because in the world that we live in with so many different things going on that you touched on earlier, we get distracted easily. So
Mhm.
you, next thing you know, you're working at 10 o'clock at night because you're missing the boat on getting some stuff done. So about 4 years ago, I started production day, and my Wednesday is my one day per week that I don't make any set plans, but that's my one day to work. And I got to tell you, it's such a relief because it's a day I look forward to because I know that if I want to, I can work in, my jammies and slippers, but I'm going to sit there and I'm going to get all this work done, that I haven't up to this point.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, that I was thinking is, I know not everybody can do this, but I also shut my email off on my phone. Now, I actually started doing this a couple years ago. When I was done with my workday, I would shut off my email, because here's the thing is, and I don't know about you, but when I sit there and I look at my phone and I see, oh, I've got like 6 more emails to read, I got to read those and I got to respond back now. One, that trains your clients that you're not available 24/7, because when I first started my company, I was having clients literally call me at 10:30 at night and say, I need this done by 11. You know what? That does not lead to a healthy work-life balance. So if you give yourself that gift of 1 production day a week, if you can, and if shutting off your email and your phone when you're done with your workday, it's a very freeing experience.
Love it, love it, love it. That's my drop mic. That's dope. Because you're right. One day to kind of work on your business and not necessarily in your business. And then I'm learning this now. My wife and I had a very long conversation just the other day about me working way too much and not considering her enough, the children enough. And that's the problem, because everybody thinks that, oh yeah, it's 8 o'clock. I can call Cortez and get this question answered real quick. And that's how the conversation usually happens. Real quick, got a quick question for you.
Right.
And now I'm on the phone for an hour from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and just wrecking stuff. So love that production day, then shut off your business contact, communication, phone, all email, so that you can do what you need to do with your family. Love it, love it, love it. So Laura, tell everybody how they can connect with you.
Sure.
What's the best way if they need to hire you for your services?
Absolutely. And I'd love to, if any of your viewers would like to do an in-person strat planning with me, I'm happy to do that complimentary. People can either text me or they can call me. And the phone number is 314-308-0799. Again, that's 314-308-0799. Learn that from sales. Working on my sales. And then, or you can go online and visit my company at www.CommCore Marketing. It's CommCore marketing.com.
All right. So free strategy session.
Free strategy. And I'd also like to extend, an additional hour's worth of work. So if we put together a strat plan and we determine, okay, these are the 3 goals that we want to go after, I'm happy to, donate an hour of my time to get that up and running.
Nice. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm big on the power of mentorship, coaching, sitting down with an actual expert with 25 years of experience in the game, willing to help you strategize for free and give you an hour worth of work to help you lay out or execute on the plan that you guys come up with together. I think that is genius. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to and learning from Laura DeVries. CommCore Marketing is the company. Laura is the founder and creator. That's her baby, and she's doing amazing work. She want to help you do the same. Build out your business, build your brand with intention, and take your business to the next level. I just put her phone number that you can text her on this number. Let me just put that and make that clear. Let's see, text Laura at, all right. So you can text Laura at 314-308-0799 to book that free strategy session, and she'll help you execute for 1 hour as well of time that you could use of hers to help you execute that game plan. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, Laura?
No, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you inviting me and sharing interesting things. I mean, I love the video that you showed earlier, the motivation. That's just, it's kicked off my day right.
Love it, love it, love it. And that's why we do it, man. I want to make sure everybody gets their day started with a good quote and some good motivation and some strategies that can help them win in business. So thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. So hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.